This week, new developments in our year-long investigation into directed energy weapons that target U.S. government personnel, including military operatives, diplomats, and spies. Based on our reporting, there appears to be a false narrative that these attacks began in 2016 with a cluster of cases in Cuba. The debilitating neurological symptoms are commonly known as Havana Syndrome. Christy, who asked us not to use her real name to protect her identity, was on assignment for the Defense Department in 2015 when she says she was attacked by a directed energy weapon. Since, her brain injury continues to get worse.
You've seen my brain scans, and so every couple years, more of my brain is, gone. I wanted to come and speak to you, with you on camera, to preserve what I can, while I can, before I entirely disappear.
We sat down with Christy, who told us the attack happened at a hotel in the former Yugoslavia, and the attack unfolded like a spy novel.
The last night I was there, I was followed.
What happened next?
When I got back to the hotel, there was someone in the lobby that was a different person that I just noted and thought was creepy. And outside of my hotel room door, there was a service panel on the wall right outside my door. The service panel door was open about an inch or an inch and a half. I didn't look in it. I just noticed that it was open. I didn't touch it. And ahead of me, at the end of the hall to the left, was a stairwell door. And the door was swinging shut, as though somebody had just gone through the door.
This is the elevator?
Yeah, okay. And that's my room.
Christy showed us this hotel floor plan and suspects the attack was triggered from a service panel in the hotel hallway. What happened inside your room?
When I got on my computer, instead of sort of firing up normally, it just got blue and yellow static, big zigzag static. And then it got what they call the blue screen of death.
Were you attacked by a directed energy weapon?
Yes.
No question in your mind?
No.
Is there a classified report about the incident?
Yes.
Where is the classified report?
DIA has it.
The Defense Intelligence Agency?
I believe so, yes.
When you got back to the United States, were you hospitalized?
Yes. I was really sick when I got back. I was, back and forth to the doctor all the time.
Were you in the ICU?
Yes. I was in the ICU for probably 5 days or so. I was in the hospital for about 2 weeks.
As part of our year-long investigation, we spoke with a nationally recognized expert in directed energy weapons, who told us the brain injury does not stop with the initial attack.
I think the easiest way for a layperson to understand what particularly rapidly pulsed microwaves could do is to think about something like Wi-Fi connections in a cellular phone. So if you were to take your phone and put it in the microwave oven for a second or 2 seconds, you would take the phone out and structurally it would look fine. It would seem that it would be working just fine for you on some levels. But the actual sophistication of that phone would have been changed as a consequence of the microwave damage. And not only will it change then, but that change is durable and characteristically progressive.
That's what a directed energy weapon attack does.
Yes, ma'am.
It fundamentally disrupts the brain network.
Yes, ma'am.
And can cause brain cell death.
Yes, ma'am. It can cause both brain cell death and change in the functional ability of various cells and nodes in the brain to be able to maintain the networks that are so vital to our thought, our emotions, and our behaviors.
When a directed energy weapon attack happens, is that the end of the damage?
The problem with directed energy attacks, like many things that can happen to the brain, is that the initial insult, the injury itself, is nothing more than the first snowball that then leads to the avalanche. The injury to the brain impairs the brain's ability to not only function at the time of the injury and thereafter, but to compensate effectively. So then you begin to see a cascade of effects.
Throughout our investigation, we spoke with a dozen Havana Syndrome survivors, and like Christy, they allege there's an intentional effort by some elements of the U.S. government to downplay the severity of their injuries and cast doubt on the cause. These are your brain scans that you shared with our team. The red flags abnormalities. Some parts of your brain are very small, and some parts are enlarged. When you saw these brain scans, did they validate the suffering you're experiencing?
It does explain some of my day-to-day confusion, yes. I saw a diagnosis on my latest MRI. It's where you get holes in your brain, where it usually happens to premature infants, but you don't get it as an adult unless you had a stroke or you were in a coma or something.
Christy shared these photos from before the attack, including her government assignments. And now even the most basic tasks like balancing can be overwhelming. What have some Walter Reed staff shared with you?
The first doctor that I had at Walter Reed told me that she had to keep her job, and that's why they had to minimize some of the the documentation.
Was the doctor telling you that they had to avoid a paper trail?
That was definitely the understanding that was being conveyed, yeah.
Was there an effort to minimize the nature of the injuries?
Yes.
For yourself and others?
I can say yes, and I can definitely say that that's been told to me by other people as well.
While Christy emphasized she is grateful for the care she receives, she said the denials got worse under the Biden administration. Other Havana Syndrome survivors have had the same experience.
Yes.
That there's been an effort to minimize their injuries in the medical charts.
Yes.
What explains it?
It's part of this larger effort to create a narrative that these injuries aren't real.
A CIA whistleblower who spoke exclusively with our team backed up these accounts. She called it government gaslighting. You were attacked.
Yes.
You were attacked by an energy weapon.
Yes, a directed energy weapon. My ear started hurting. I started having vertigo. The room was spinning. My head started pulsing. Like, it hurt so badly. And I had a ton of pain in my left ear. And my ears started ringing. And I thought I was going to pass out. And I heard a weird noise. It was a really weird sound that I'll never forget it. And after about a second or two, I felt it in my feet, kind of like the reverb from a speaker.
So you're feeling a vibration.
I heard a noise, a weird noise, and then I felt it.
So what do you think the weapon looks like?
I think that there are probably multiple weapons. I think there are weapons that can be fit in backpacks, ones that can be fit in the trunks of cars, ones that can be planted at a position with line of sight to people from across the street.
Merriam-Webster defines gaslighting as psychological manipulation that causes the victim to question the validity of their own thoughts. Did the CIA gaslight you?
It was designed to make us think ourselves are crazy and to question our own injuries.
Did you expect more from the CIA?
100%. We swore this oath, and every day I watch them continue to deny people's humanity and their injuries.
Is it reasonable to think that the intelligence community doesn't want to acknowledge a foreign adversary?
Yes.
Because then they would have to do something.
Yes. And it's complicated with Russia, right? One theory we bet around is it possible that's Russia and China? Is it possible that, one country created it, sold it, or gave it to another country? Like Christy, Alice needed multiple breaks during our interview because of her brain injury. Once trusted with the nation's secrets, Alice now relies on a service dog to manage her day-to-day life. It is a full-time job to try to get medical treatment, and is another full-time job to try to handle the bureaucracy of trying to access benefits. I've gone over $100,000 in out of pocket for this.
$100,000?
Because none of these places take health insurance. And if they're experimental, which we need, the reality is a normal physician cannot help us. You know, I've already started having to go to funerals of friends of mine. I mean, my friend that was with me the day I got my dog has already passed away, a fellow AHI survivor of a rare form of cancer. I have friends in nursing homes. I have friends with dementia and Parkinson's. In some ways, you know, people have a heart attack, and if you don't die of it, we know how to fix a heart attack. We don't know how to fix this.
A State Department whistleblower said he was retaliated against for speaking out under the Biden administration, and he alleges the retaliation continues to this day. What is the cost of coming forward?
The cost for me has been not only financial, but it's been profound in terms of my career. I went public with some of this, and I wrote a very high-profile op-ed in the Hill newspaper. So I wrote this, and in this I praised, this is during the Biden administration, in that op-ed, I praised President Trump for his handling of these pulse microwave attacks, and for originally in Cuba calling them out as attacks. And comparing that to the horrible treatment and the cover-up that the Biden administration was doing. Once I published that op-ed that got a lot of attention in Congress, that's when my nightmare kind of retaliation from the State Department began. Because I committed two cardinal sins. The worst thing you can do at State Department is praise President Trump and expose fraud, waste, and abuse. You're going to be retaliated against.
Diagnosed with early onset Parkinson's, retired counterintelligence officer Mike Beck can no longer live at home. He is full-time in assisted living. We interviewed Beck and his wife Rita earlier this year. What made Mike's Parkinson's case stand out?
Well, it's very unusual because he was a young onset. He was only 45. It's usually 70s, 60s, late 60s to be diagnosed.
Did he have any of the typical signs of Parkinson's?
No. His first sign that I noticed was his anxiety. He never had the tremor. He still doesn't have a tremor.
So you've had a Parkinson's diagnosis and then more recently a diagnosis of dementia. Yeah. Is that a secondary consequence of the Parkinson's?
Yes.
Are you frustrated? Are you looking for the words?
Yes, it's very frustrating. I always wanted to have my A game on for work assignments until I got hurt. I had a lot of success in the workplace. The one thing I can say about work is I love my job.
I can see a lot of sadness in your eyes.
It was a great career. I was blessed to have such a good job. Worked with good people.
I have a letter here from one of the country's leading Parkinson's experts. He writes, "Although I have limited expertise in so-called Havana Syndrome, I can state that Mr. Beck has a much more clearly documented exposure to a microwave weapon, as well as a much more clearly documented brain injury than those patients described in either the literature or the media. Mr. Beck clearly merits the recognition that his Parkinson's disease and its associated symptoms are due to his government service."
We'd applied for workers' compensation, and the agencies involved did everything they could to not approve my application.
You were denied 3 times for workman's comp.
Right.
Did you finally get workman's comp?
The benefit we received was they will pay for Mike's assisted living.
You shared one of the bills for the assisted living with our team, and it says there's a balance due of over $25,000. Is the government paying Mike's assisted living on time?
No.
No?
No.
How many months behind is the U.S. government on its payments for Mike's assisted living?
3 months behind.
Does that just create more anxiety?
It does. It's scary. I mean, I don't know how long, when am I going to get the call that says, you're going to have to pay this because we still haven't gotten a check? And it'd be devastating because, we're not living on a whole ton of money.
In response to our reporting about Mike Beck, the Trump administration responded and his workers' comp got paid in full. The nation's top intelligence official, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, committed to initiating a new investigation. There's no question that these incidents are documented before 2016, and for those affected and their families, the struggle for recognition has been overwhelming. Is it fair to assess that it's an effort to minimize the number of cases, minimize compensation, and avoid having to take action against a foreign adversary?
That could be the reason.
What do you think?
The outcome is that it's a foot on the throat of people who have been injured before 2016 and will not come forward because they don't think that they will be believed.
That sounds like a government cover-up. Is it a government cover-up?
I wouldn't say it's a whole of government cover-up, but it's a cover-up by certain elements inside the government, certain bad actors.
Even with the change of administration, Christy and other Havana Syndrome survivors are still waiting for a full recognition of their injuries and the cause.
I think that just because the heads of the agencies have changed or departments have changed doesn't mean that the actors deeper within the bureaucracy have changed, and that some house cleaning needs to take place.
Taking on directed energy weapons is a difficult investigation. You need very strong national security and intelligence contacts. You also have to be willing to dig through hundreds of pages of government documents to verify the facts. You also have to be willing to open your heart to these injured personnel and their families, to really understand their suffering and this sense of betrayal, that the government has gaslit them over the severity of their injuries and the cause of these attacks. This is the kind of reporting you can expect on Straight to the Point. I'll see you next time.